Hello and welcome to Paints and Glitter. My name is Raquel. I'm happy that you're here today, and I'm going to introduce you to Scrumtious Sweet Cart die set from Tonic Studios. It is absolutely adorable, and as you can see there, you can create a little cart full of sweeties for any occasion, really. It is just so cute. So I'm going to get right into it. So you get to see there are 34 pieces in this die collection. You're going to be able to create a base for your little box that will create the cart. And I'm going to describe these dies just to make it easier for you. So with this piece here, you create the base. And then on top of that piece, as you can see here, there's almost like 4 different categories here. You can select whether or not to have the opening of the little box for your little treats to be either the top of the box. So I'm going to explain that. And that's what this die here does. See how there's a little piece here that has a little hole right there? So if you place that on your paper, and I'm going to show you because you'll be cutting one out for your base and it'll look just like this. If you take this paper and turn it around this way, it makes it a little bit easier. And take that little notch there and face it toward the side that has the 2 panels. Then you can run this through your machine, your die cutting machine. You can use your low-tack tape and just hold it once you've positioned it perfectly there. Place that on here and then run that through your machine, and you're going to be able to have an aperture that will open here on the top. However, if you want to, you can also take this piece here. This is going to create the front and back of your little box. It's going to look like this. And once you cut that piece of paper, you can use the second piece here and run that through your machine. That's what I've done here. Go ahead and place your low-tack tape on top as well. Make sure that this is nicely positioned, nicely centered, and once you remove that, it has the same feature where it has the little notch that's going to cut your paper, and it doesn't cut the edges, but it will cut into your paper, and then you can get something that looks like this. It also does deboss the paper, so it's a little bit hard to see right now, but it does say Open Me, and it has some gorgeous little swirls, which you can help stand out by adding whether it be sprays, ink, or Nuvo mousse. So you have those 2 pieces. Then you also have this gorgeous piece here that looks like a ticket. So you can use that to decorate the side of your box, and it does have stippling all the way around. It has a matching solid piece, and then it has a sentiment piece that says sweets. And then it does have beautiful little swirls all the way around instead of empty space. There's this scallop portion here. This die will cut out and look like this, and that's what I'll be using. So look at how beautiful that edge looks. And of course you can use this for card making. There's also a solid piece that will layer on top of that. And then there's this gorgeous swirl piece here, and the sentiment does say have the sweetest birthday. So of course you can use that for that type of occasion, and also great for card making. And then over here there's an Eve that you can cut out with little layers. So the Eve looks like this, and you'll need 2 for this box. And what I've done here is that I taped off the edges, and if you can tell, that gorgeous color there is actually Nuvo embellishment mousse in Mother of Pearl. So I just used a little brush and painted that on. Then for that you have this piece here, which is a solid, and that really intricate piece, and those look like this. Here is the solid, and then here is the piece that you can layer on top by using both of those dies. It's gorgeous, very intricate, and that's this here. I used gold mirror card, as you can tell. And along with that, there are these dies that it cuts 3 little leaves. So that's really fun because you can either get a singular leaf or both of them together. There's also this little circle, and that's going to come in handy a little later, but I'm going to show you what those look like. So you'll need 2. For the opening of the box, whichever opening you choose to have, whether it be on the top or the side of the box, you do have some options. So there are these dies here, and they allow you to create little tabs. Because this creates a box, you do have options, and there's an oval or a little ticket shape there, and I'll be using the ticket shape today, and I'll be showing you later how you'll use that to open and close your box, but here they are, and that's going to match up with the piece that I cut into. So I'll show you how that goes together. Then there's this little piece here, which is really a lot of fun actually. This one here couples with the balloon that's included in this set. Okay, so there's those two. Here is what the balloon will look like. Very, very pretty, and it even has the little highlight that will emboss on there. So if you're using white paper, you can definitely take advantage of that. And what you will essentially do is that you will take your little balloon and you'll adhere it here on top of each one of these little circle portions. And of course, you can layer those to your heart's content. It's also going to depend on what you're making. Then you have this piece here, and it's going to create a canopy. So you'll be cutting this out 4 times, and then I'm going to show you how these little notches come in handy. You also have this gorgeous decorative piece here that embosses into your paper. That looks like that. So pretty. And of course, again, you can take advantage of inks or anything like that. Then you do have these pieces, which are a scalloped edge that you can use on this little box if you choose to do so. Mine won't have that today, but it will have these little corner pieces that you can cut out. And I did cut them out twice. What I did here is that I cut out the base and the heavy 110-pound card, or it's probably 300 GSM is a little bit heavier. And then I cut it out of the mirror card, and what I did was I cut away the 2 tabs. That's it, and that's going to layer right on top. So I have a nice sturdy piece, but still pretty. This piece here, and that's going to come in handy. This is going to be something that you cut out multiple times depending on the thickness of the paper that you chose. This is going to hold on to your little wheels. The instructions call for 10 of these pieces so that you have 5 on each side. What I have done is that I've cut it out of mirror card, and then I actually cut mine out of foam. So this is actually really thick foam, and then I cut it out again with the heavy cardstock. Along with all of that, there is the piece here for the canopy. You're going to notice it has 2 tabs on the sides and then 1 little tab on the top, along with 2 pieces there to decorate it. So the canopy is going to look like this. You'll cut out that piece twice. I've just put a little piece of adhesive there on the top. With it will allow you to have a really pretty layer that you can layer on top to create a really beautiful decorative piece. There's this gorgeous little banner that embosses little hearts. It's so pretty. I love it. Look how cute that is. It embosses little hearts on there. Isn't that so sweet? So I know that you can think of multiple uses for that. And last but not least, there are other little pieces. There's a little bow here that you can use along with the little balloon and then the little stem to get started. For this, you want to make sure that you fold all of your tabs. So there's going to be the 3 major tabs there, and then all of the tabs all the way around. If you can tell, I've already done so. And then make sure that you burnish them as well, okay? You want to make sure that your paper has a really clean fold, and for that I recommend the bone folder. It'll make it a lot easier. So I omitted the aperture from mine here. So I'm going to go ahead and start adhering this. So I'm going to use this tab here. I'm just going to place a bead of adhesive. I'm using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive because it does dry clear and fast, and it creates a really great bond with the paper. So when you're 3D crafting, you have to use good adhesive, because if not, your projects will fall apart, especially with fluctuations in temperature, and we don't want that to happen. So now you're going to select here the little tabs that you'll see here. Is one here right next to this little handle, if you will. So you're going to want to push that down, and it does have a little score line there. You have another one on the other side, so go ahead and do the same, being careful not to fold anything else, just that piece there. So you'll have something that looks like that. Then flip it over and do the same thing on the bottom. You've got that little tab there, just like that. You're going to take the canopy posts that you'll be cutting out, and you're going to be cutting these out 4 times. So that's what they look like. It's a long piece of paper that has a lot of little score lines on it, and you're going to be folding these along those score lines all the way down again. Okay. You're going to notice that there are some little indentations here. So the die will leave that marking on your paper. On 2 of them, you can disregard it because it won't come into play. You're going to use the entire length. But then on 2 of them, you're actually going to cut along that indentation. Look at these little notches that I had mentioned. I'm going to take it into my paper cutter and line up those little notches right at the edge there. So this is going to end up measuring about 4 1/4 inches tall. Okay, I'm going to cut that away, and I'm going to do that with the second one as well. Just like that. So just cut away those 2 little pieces. You won't be using them. What I'm going to do is take a brush, make sure the brush is nice and clean, and I'm going to take my embellishment mousse that I had mentioned. And because I want my paper to look really fancy, I'm going to color this all the way. And this does create such a beautiful, beautiful finish on paper. I absolutely love it. It really just elevates a project, and it's so easy to use. So now that I'm happy with these, so you can see, so pretty, right? Now I can just remove that mat. My mat is nice and clean. And here are the other 2 that I already adhered together. If you see how beautiful that looks, I also added the mousse to that. So these 2 now, I just have to adhere. Okay, so you can add the mousse after you assemble these. It's really up to you. It's a water-based product, but it dries quite quickly because you're not using, you know, tons of it anyway. So now this will just roll over. You want to meet up or match up the edge of that fold line with the edge of the actual paper to create your little canopy post. Now that our little canopy posts are ready to go, here's what you're going to do. Remember how I said that you would cut 2 of them along the little score lines? Well, the other ones that you didn't cut still have the little score lines on them. So let's go with those first. And we're going to place them toward the back of the little cart. And what we're going to do is, on the little openings created by the tabs that you folded down, you're going to bring that little post inside, making sure that those little tabs are now facing in on both the top and the bottom. And then you're going to bring this down right until you see the little score line there. So you'll be able to take a look at this and find your score line. So I'm going to apply a little bit of adhesive there, just kind of sandwiched in between there. Place a little bead of glue there, okay? And again, making sure that that little notch that I see in the paper is all the way down to the bottom here. Tab, you can apply adhesive to. And this is going to hold on to that post because now you can fold it over and it'll attach right to that post. Just like that. So you can hold on to it. And it's actually super easy because it's a small surface to add adhesive to the tiny little tabs there. but they're easily accessible, so it's not a big deal. Now that you have both of those posts adhered to the back, should look like that, then you can turn this over, and what you're going to do is similarly you'll be adding the other 2 posts to the front, and the difference here is going to be that the little tabs on the bottom of your little box you're going to leave as is, because those are actually going to reinforce the bottom of your canopy post. It's going to help to conceal it. So go ahead and fold the 2 top tabs only. Okay, so make sure that you have these 2 little pieces facing up, and on that same side fold down the tabs. So I'm going to thread these through just as I did before, and that's going to go right there. It's going to stop right inside of that box. Do the same thing on the other side. Make sure it stops there, that box there, so that way you get an initial tack. I like to add it to the little tabs as well. Just remember you won't be folding that a little bit. And don't worry if you get adhesive on the actual post, because it's going to be on the inside. No one's going to see it. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive up here on that little tab. So go ahead and fold that over. Making sure that it's making contact there at the bottom. There we go. I'm going to hold on to it like so, because this is short enough. I can apply pressure there, both from the bottom and the side, to make sure there's full contact there. Now that you've placed all 4 of those on your box, go ahead and go back to this side here, the one with the little handles, and you can fold in those 2 tabs, because now you're going to cover this with that rectangle that you cut out. Okay, and this is the solid one, not the one with the aperture. So you can go ahead and apply adhesive here, and apply your little rectangle right on top. The opposite side, if you are using the box opening on here as I am, then now you can take that little piece and adhere it right on top. But you want to make sure that you're able to open and close this. Before you adhere this on here, if you're going to decorate it in any way, now's when you want to do that. And what I'm going to do with mine is that I'm going to again apply some embellishment mousse, because I do want this to be really pretty. After all, I did go through the trouble of embossing that. Here, as you can see, I've taped down the piece of card because I wanted to apply the mousse only on the center portion and not on the edges. So all I did was to load my little brush, as you're going to see here. And you do want to keep this covered so it doesn't dry out, but you can open it long enough to grab the amount of mousse that you want. And you're going to notice how beautifully this applies again. And you can leave some texture on it if you want to, of course. Once you've applied enough, you can just take away the washi tape, is what I use to mask this. Comes in handy. And there is that piece there. Now with that pearlescent finish, you can really see the sentiment. It's so pretty. I'll be using in this project. And I did cut them out of that gold card. And one of them, I am going to adhere to the top portion of this, and the other one right behind the opening. So for that, what I'll do is fold this in half in a valley fold, just gently, and The other one, I'm going to fold as a mountain fold. Okay. So the one I folded as a mountain fold, I'm actually going to adhere right behind here. I'm just going to apply a little bit of adhesive, just like that. And that's going to go right back here. And it just fits right there, just like that. And one way that you can ensure that it matches is to kind of just line it up with the previous one. And then apply your adhesive on that part that's going to adhere to this rectangle. And just go ahead and press it down. That way you know it's exactly where you need it. Now that it separates there, I can kind of reinforce it. What I want to make sure is that that little fold line there is actually facing the bottom of that rectangle. Okay. I'm going to set this here and grab my little box here. And now, of course, you can tell exactly where this is going to fit. I'm just going to apply my adhesive on those 4 tabs. I'm going to grab my little rectangle, making sure that the opening faces the top of the box. And now I can just apply pressure here all the way around. You should now have an opening that looks like this, and there's your little tab where you can add a little ribbon closure of your choice. So let's go back to this side. I'm going to prop this up a little bit. And as I had mentioned, I did cut away the edges of the gold card there so that I can layer these right on top. So I'm just now going to follow that with some adhesive to add that decorative portion right on top here. I'll do that for both pieces. Once you've adhered these 2 little golden pieces, then what you'll do is place adhesive right on the back, and then line it up with the little handles and the side of your little cart, and those are going to layer right on top. Very pretty already. Now let's work on the canopy like this. And you're going to notice that there's a tab here on the top. You can go ahead and fold and burnish that. Then the portion at the bottom here is actually going to fold down as well. So you can fold it just like that. And I'm using ivory pearlescent paper from Tonic Studios. Now before I assemble this, I did cut out the layers. That's what this looks like. So I have a pink pearlescent card and this mirror card that I had cut out with the dies. I'm just going to apply a little adhesive here and attach these 2 pieces on both sides. Such a pretty paper. piece now. Making sure that you center that really nicely. And this die set also embosses into the paper, so it actually gives you a really nice guideline as to the placement of your paper, which I find to be really awesome. I've placed double-sided adhesive here, and I'm just going to remove the liner now. I'm going to double that up with Nuvo Deluxe adhesive on both tabs there. And then these are going to overlap each other, but the tabs will adhere to the back of both pieces, just like so. Make sure you line that really nicely. And this is now going to be a mountain fold. Just like that. And this is going to create the canopy, of course, which I'll be adding to the top. But before I do so, I do need some reinforcement here. Add this right on top. Just very gently. And actually, the bottom one you don't have to fold, just the two tabs on the sides here. Being careful to just gently fold those back. Okay. And those are going to adhere right along the edge here. So I'm going to aim right there at the center, making sure that this reaches right to the edge. So I like to do one edge first if I can, and then make sure that I line up the other side and apply pressure from underneath. Once you have that secured, what I'm going to do is apply my adhesive to the inside here of the canopy on both the little tab there, if you can see that. Just a little drop on both sides. I still want my project to be nice and neat. I'm now going to place both of the little posts on one side, and then I will do the other two and just slide them right in. I'm going to apply pressure using my table on one side first, then I'll flip this around and do the same on the opposite side. And once these are nice and dry, I'll be right back. You can definitely decorate the sides and the front and back of this piece. I've gone ahead and used this gorgeous pearlescent pink card that I cut with the die from the set, and you can already tell that it did nicely emboss the paper. So you see all of that beautiful detail, and this is going to fit right here. on this edge. And that gives that a really beautiful finish also. And there's also here the little wheels that you're going to want to put onto this. And for that, you're going to want to cut out these pieces here. Now what I did is I doubled mine up. And once I doubled it up, I cut a third one to put on top. So it's up to you whether or not you decorate this. However, this does have some little notches on here that emboss right into the paper. So what I'm going to do is double mine up again. I'm going to adhere these two together. Just because that's what I did before. Now, depending on the thickness of the paper, you may not need to do this. However, I really like sturdy 3D projects. So I'm happiest when my papers are really nice and sturdy. So here what you're going to do is that you're going to line up the little notches with the edge of the box here. With the little notch here on that paper on the bottom where we had lined up the posts. So that's going to be my little guideline there, my little visual. I'm applying my adhesive there, and then this is going to go right here, again paying attention to the little notch there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Pay attention to that little notch there at the bottom, the little notch that I see there in the front and the edge. Apply my pressure there. And I see that this little tab still needs a little bit of adhesive there. I'm going to hold on to that and make sure it makes contact. Okay, so it should look like that. I'm going to go back to the first side. And as for the little wheels, I had mentioned that I cut mine out of foam, out of the heavy card, and then out of gold card. And of course, that's personal preference. You can definitely use 5 pieces of the cardstock of your choice and then just stack them together. Wheel here and aim it at the base. Make sure that it's nicely lined up all the way around. Apply this right on top. And apply very gentle pressure because I don't want this to flatten out. That's the whole idea behind using the foam. Now that my little wheels are dry, I'm going to allow myself to gauge the distance here. Although I do know that I'm going to place this here, but to verify and make sure that that's correctly placed, the little notches on the wheel that are created with the die that you should be able to see on both sides here should also match up with the edge of your little box. So if it looks accurate, then you know that you did that correctly. And all you need are 2 little brads like these, and you can place those in the center, and of course you can use the color of your choice. I'm going with gold to match the little wheel. And that's going to go right through the centers I just did there, and then also through the center of the little piece of card that you placed here. It should feed all the way through, just like that. And now you can take a tool and open that, separate, it has like two little legs there. And what you do is you push on that to open it, and try to be more careful than I was just there so you don't damage your gold paper. This is what it should look like once it's open, and if you'd like to, you can avail yourself of those little circles that you can cut out that look like that, and then go ahead and adhere those on top to cover the majority of that. I'm going to apply it with hot glue because this is not going to be really truly interactive. So I'm just going to place a little drop of hot glue in the middle here, and then place that little golden circle right on top, and then just apply light pressure, and that's the result of that. And as you can tell on the other side, it still turns a little bit. So now, before I move on, I wanted to mention, you can definitely take another piece of card, and what I did here to decorate this little handle piece is that I just took a piece of pink cardstock and cut it with that same die, the corner pieces there that you can use, and then I went ahead and covered up those little handles just so that it would be a little bit sturdier. You can do it on the inside too if you want to, and also just to give it a pretty look. So that's just something I wanted to mention. And then on the sides here, there are these panels. So if you'd like to, you can adhere these to decorate your little box. So that's what I'm going to do. And I should have done it before I applied the little wheel, but as you can see, I can slip it right behind there. So before I move on, I'm going to do that on this side. So you can tell I just used this pearlescent pink card. That's going to slip right back here. And I can place this nice and centered. It's going to give it a beautiful finished look on that side. So I'm going to add this here, right in between the two posts, just like so. I think it looks so pretty. Then, of course, you have the banner piece that you can add. You can cut it shorter if you'd like to, as I've done here. You can use the full length of it and then cross it like so. What I'm going to do is that I'm also going to place adhesive on the back of this, because I'm going to allow myself to center this, and I'm actually going to flip it upside down. Apply this one. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to take another one that's just a 110-pound card, or the heavy cardstock. I use the same as I did for the foundation. I'm actually going to double that up. And it's not going to match at the bottom, but that's okay. It's going to create a more sturdy finish there, as you can see, with the gold on the other side. And I'm okay with a little bit of that white showing at the bottom there. I did, however, get adhesive on it, but I have a baby wipe for that very reason that I keep on my table when I'm crafting. So you can see how easily it is that I can clean off my mirror card. I'm going to place my adhesive here first and kind of plan out how I want that balloon to look. Do the same thing with the other side. I'll lift this and place it where I want that. Just like that. And then I'm going to place the pretty paper on top. apply a little gold one here. And then I'm going to come back and actually finish the other ones with different colors. But I'm going to show you how you can definitely add this now to this little side of your cart. And I'm going to apply adhesive here. I'm going to aim this at the bottom. I want my balloon to kind of reach that little corner. I'm going to apply pressure here. Oopsie, a little bow came off. Apply that little bow again. And now I'm going to apply adhesive here on the base and then press the balloon onto it. So that's one side decorated, and of course you can have some movement there. It doesn't have to be static. Now I mentioned the little flowers that were included in the set, and here I have a bunch of them. And what I did is that I used a tool with a rounded tip that's meant for flower shaping, and all I did was that I selected one size and I pressed onto the center of the flowers like that. Nothing complicated, I just have a lot of them. And I just pressed onto the paper just like so to shape it. And then on the smaller ones I just used a smaller center here, or little tip, and then I pressed onto the center and then I just twirled it around like this. And that'll give you a really beautiful shape to your flower. The next thing that I did was that I took some little stamens. You can get flower stamens at different stores. I happen to like these, and these are going to be linked below if you want to grab some. This is of course completely optional. You don't have to do this, but I like the way that it looks. So I took one. I'll set this aside. To take the little flowers and take the piercing tool and just pierce the center to be able to add that little stamen. Then I take a little jewelry wire. This is just the easiest way that I've found to do this. I fold it into a V shape, and much like threading a needle, I just add the thread of the little stamen and kind of pull it all the way to the bottom, because this is going to help me now feed this into the little flowers. So it ends up looking like two opposite V's. I'm going to now take the little wire and feed it through the center of one flower, then the center of another flower. So you can do this in graduated sizes, and make sure that your little stamen is still in the center. So it's gonna dance around a little bit, but once you get the hang of it, it goes fast. Then now just pull on that little wire until your little stamens meet the center there. And what I do is I take my needle nose tip adhesive here, and I just put a tiny little drop in between the petals, however many I decided to stack. And I take the moment there to make sure that they're staggered. And I'm still holding on to that little thread, but now I can take away the wire. And I have a little flower that looks like this. You can curl the edges of these if you want to. It all depends on how you want your little flower to look. And you can also use Nuvo drops to color these little stamens if you'd like to. You can have them one taller than the other, however you want them to look. And once you have one, of course, you can repeat that. Here are some that I created with the pearlescent pink card that I've been using in this project. So you can see that you can create a little grouping just like that. And then you have a little bouquet that you can use to decorate your project. So I'm gonna make a few of these, and I'm going to finish decorating my little box here. And I have to say, this is so easy to put together, and all of the little delicate features of this are so absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to play around with this, have a little fun decorating it, and I'll be right back. So here is the final result of how I decorated this gorgeous little cart. I have to say, it's absolutely adorable. I availed myself of the little balloon bows that came with the kit, but then to add to that, what I did was that I took some gold thread that I like to use in my crafting, and I created some small bows that I did layer right on top, and then I did use some little golden diamond dots on top of that. I just figured because of the gold on gold, it would be super cute. So I'm just removing some little glue strings. Then down here from another set, I did use this little heart. I thought it would be super cute, and then a little arrow, and I just looked around at the different sets that I have from Tonic Studios, and I grabbed a little this and a little that because I wanted it to be super romantic, kind of like a wedding theme, hence the colors and everything else. So there you see that golden banner with the beautiful hearts that emboss onto that. And then down here, more of the little flowers with just little Nuvo drops in the center that I did color or use the color Metallic Soft Mint, and that is a crystal drop. And I figured that was a soft enough green that I can use, along with the little pink diamond dots here, cream ones over here. So I decided here on these little handle supports, because that's truly what they are, that aside from the gold color here that I layered, I had mentioned the pink, and then what I did was that I took the leftover gold pieces from here, used them in on the inside as a support there, so they fit perfectly. So if you want to save whatever you have from here, then now you know you can use it on either side of these little handles. Then I further decorated the little triangles that I decided to put on here with more little gems all the way around. I did complete my little bouquet on the top, and I did use Nuvo drops on the centers of the little stamens. I just went ahead and colored them because you can use that as if you were using watercolor. So I just used a little brush and painted all the little stamens. And then these little pieces here are from another Tonic Studios die set, and I thought the little branches looked like little baby's breath. I further made a kind of like a quadruple bow here, and that was just using some heavy thread. I added more little flowers just kind of trailing down, the two little banners here, and two different types of mirror card with the little bows on either side. Then down here, I decided to decorate the little panel that you can use with the word love, and that was from the die set that had the little, it was the milk jar. I keep forgetting the name of it, but I'll list it down below because I think you guys would recognize it. And lastly, on the back here where the little opening is, I did take a piece of ribbon. You can get ribbon from Tonic Studios to coordinate with all of your projects. I happen to have some in white, and I did thread some little beads at the bottom. I added those by just placing them onto the ribbon and then tying a little knot, and then more little flowers down here to kind of finish this little portion off, also with a little sprig there of what looks to be like what you would use on a bouquet. And again, that's just any little leaves or anything that you have. You can just cut them out in white and color them in whichever color you wish to do so. And then I did make two cards. This is the first one, very shabby and very romantic. I figured this could work for either Valentine's Day, anniversary, or definitely for a wedding. And I will also list the dies that I used here, but I did create a tutorial. So I'm going to be sharing a short tutorial for this card separately, and then I will have another tutorial for this card. that I created with the balloons, the piece here on the top, the banners again, and this time with the word sweets. And then I'm going to show you how I made those little ice creams at the bottom using this set along with supplementing it with another one. So again, I encourage you to look into your stash and see what mixes and matches and what you like. But this set, just when I think I've got a favorite, then there's another favorite. And then another favorite, and that's how it goes. But I had so much fun making this, and let me tell you, this is a very easy project to put together. The more elaborate portion of it is how much detail you want to add onto it, but of course it can be very therapeutic and fun. Cut it out of all the papers you love to look at, and then you'll end up with a really beautiful result. And as I always say, I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed. Don't forget to comment, like the video, share it, subscribe if you're new, all the good things, and I hope to see you again. Have a blessed day.